What's up guys, welcome to Voicey here. This is your host, Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, Entitled Father Tries to Kick Me Out of University. My freshman year, I was roommates with a guy who had fairly well-off parents. Let's call him John. John was a child actor, and although he isn't one you'd recognize immediately, he's played side characters on some big sitcoms and did some voice acting on some pretty popular kid shows. His parents hold him to very high expectations and were very strict with him and his acting. So when he got into our university, which is considered a top 10 university globally, his parents held him to that same standard, which, for a now liberated young adult with almost no maturity, he did the exact opposite of everything he should have done. He slept all day, partied all night, never studied, and didn't go to class, etc. Yet, when his parents would call him to check up on him, I would always be mentioned in the conversations. They needed to make sure that I was a good influence on their son. They would tell him. They would consistently ask if I was partying often, doing drugs, bringing girls over late into the night, pretty much everything he was doing. They wanted to ensure that I wasn't doing it to keep their son safe. This goes on for months. Whenever his parents would call him during his midday nap and I'd be in between classes, I'd always hear him defending me to his parents, and he'd go beet red whenever I'd walk in and hear what they were saying about me over the phone. So I'd leave and wait until his call ended since I knew he already felt embarrassed enough. I didn't really think of what they were saying. I just thought it was ironic and told John afterwards that he didn't need to apologize since they weren't his thoughts. Around the end of the semester, John is told by his major department that he would likely flunk out of college if he did not ace the final exams in at least 2 of 4 of his classes, and that he would have to retake the other 2 regardless of how he did. Moreover, that he would lose a scholarship that paid a substantial amount of his tuition. He had to call his dad to tell him the bad news while I was on the top bunk of the bed studying, and his father is shouting so loud that I can hear him through John's phone with my earbuds in. Eventually, the question is asked if I had anything to do with John's bad grades, and before John can say anything, his dad determines that John was covering for me because I was a bad influence and that since I was around him all the time, I was the reason he failed. He demanded to speak to me and wanted me to tell him everything I did to his son and how I corrupted him. And when John said that I didn't do anything, it only made him angrier. And after telling me that I would pay, he hung up. He already knew my name and, of course, where I lived. But I didn't think he would do anything with that information until I got a call from the University Student Affairs Center telling me that John's father had requested access to my personal information through the student portal, basically a website with financial aid and enrollment info, and to change my passwords in case I thought my data was at risk. I tell John that his dad tried to access my info, and of course he called his dad to ask him what the heck he was doing. Dad said that because John was failing, he was pulling John out of college and that he was coming in a few days to talk to me about my part in all of this. John asks him again to ask him why he asked the school for my info, and John's dad just hung up on him. I couldn't focus on that BS at the time since I had my own exams to prep for, but as he said he would, he showed up as this fairly skinny, balding guy desperately trying to cover up his receding hairline by brushing as much stringy blonde hair of his to the front of his head. I came down with the flu right before the exams, so sadly I was forced to be in the room while John moved out, while his dad was berating the both of us while I have my earbuds in and feel like I'm going to puke. John looks like he's going to cry because he doesn't want to leave, and I peek over my laptop to see his dad putting books and notes in the garbage and repeatedly asking John if he officially withdrew from the university until John barked "yes" at him. John's dad then turns to me and says something along the lines of, "Alright, now you." Again, I insist that I didn't do anything to his son except to live with him, and the dad demanded that because I turned his kid from an accomplished actor to a college dropout, I should withdraw from the university too. John is now yelling at his dad to leave me alone, and I'm telling him that there's no way I'm dropping out for his ego. He demands my laptop and portal login info, and I tell him that if he even so much as touches my laptop or me, I'm calling the police. This escalates to a straight-up shouting match among the 3 of us, until the RA knocks on the door, warning us that if we don't quiet down, he will get campus security to come up and settle the issue. The dad quiets himself again and calmly asks me to withdraw again because it's only fair. I say no because, again, I didn't do anything. There's a silence in the room as he approaches the edge of my bunk. He's glaring at me. I'm putting my earbuds in because chemistry won't study itself, and he asks again, gripping the railing and almost hissing the question. I say no. Again, didn't do crap. He finally decides that I'm not worth talking to anymore and says that he'll tell my parents everything I did and that they would make me leave college if he couldn't. And with that, he left with John. I got a text from my dad about a day later, in that both he and my mom basically told him and his wife to screw off and never contact me again in far more eloquent terms. I then got a barrage of emails and texts and Facebook posts from the parents pretty much saying that I was at fault for ruining their son's life and that I don't deserve that seat at my uni, so I blocked them. Every now and then my parents would get Facebook messages or emails. They were ignored. John Angry reacted my graduation pics on Facebook a few months ago, so out of paranoia that they were spying on me through his account, I blocked him too. I hope he understands. Okay, wow. First of all, good on John for being responsible for his irresponsibility. He's way more mature than his parents, that's sad, but also kind of telling because usually child actors are child actors because their parents want them to be child actors. I'm not saying that it doesn't take talent to be a child actor because it does. Acting isn't necessarily as easy as you think, but honestly, a lot of child actors are just puppets for the higher-ups in their lives, but that's a topic for another day. But, yeah, this is a good story. His parents are crazy, but John's a good dude. This story's called Entitled Mother Wants to Talk to My Manager. I own my own business. I have my own small online business in which I make custom activity books for kids. It's a decent business, and for the most part, parents are nice because they understand that a commission-based business is a lot on anyone. Nonetheless, a teenager in college. I'm 17. I posted on Choosing Beggars a day or two ago about a parent who was upset that I wouldn't take her offer to make a 40-page book for $15. That's 40 hours of work, and the cost for a 40-page book is typically $50. She, however, was convinced that her mommy blog would generate enough customers to make up the difference. She said I was talented for a minority and was generally rude and condescending. I woke up this morning to another email from her. I checked it and found that she was going on another rant about my irresponsible business choices. She said I was letting an opportunity slip through my fingers that could cause me a boom in business. She said that she was only trying to help, and if I didn't want the help, she'd be sure to give my business a negative review. I told her if she's so confident about her exposure, I'll give her a coupon code to post on her blog, and if I get 10 orders of $15 or more, I'll refund her original purchase. I didn't receive a reply for a while, so I figured she realized it was stupid and that she would stop bothering me. Well, no. I got an extremely long email back. In the email, she said I was rude and she would never purchase from me again. She sent a screenshot of a post on her blog in which she basically put my business on blast. She finished the email asking me to send her my manager's email so she could file a formal complaint. Ma'am, I'm 17. I'm in college and I eat ham in a can right out of the can. I know that doesn't seem like much, but I run this myself. I emailed her back to say I run my own business, I don't have a manager. I am my manager. She called me a liar and said I obviously had to have someone managing me since I was a minority. She said there was no way a minority could run a business as decent as mine on their own. I emailed her back and told her I would screenshot these racist remarks and post in the comment section of her blog post if she wouldn't leave me alone. I told her she was a terrible customer and I won't be taking orders from her again. And I made sure to end the email with, "Sincerely, management." Not a dramatic ending, but this lady was extremely ridiculous and I couldn't believe it. Wow. What does the minority have to do with business? What? I'll have y'all know that a lot of big businesses, like the big businesses, are run by minorities. That's right. The Jews, they control everything. I'm just kidding. But yeah, a lot of businesses are run by minorities. I mean, obviously, saying that minority can't run a successful business is a stupid and irrational thing to say. That makes absolutely no sense, so I don't really need to correct it, but I don't know. I feel like the internet's a crazy place, apparently. Oh gosh, the exposure my blog will give you will more than pay for itself. What the hell? Get your freaking stupid ego out of here. If your blog is that big, you can afford to pay full price. Alright, so this last story is a roller coaster, right from the title. Today I fudged up by getting busted by the cops while in my bra and panties after breaking and entering to get my friend insulin. Is that not a roller coaster of a title? Okay, now on to the story. This weekend I was in one of my best friend's weddings. The bride, my friend, is diabetic and forgot her insulin when we went to the church. So technically, diabetes is the villain of the story. No problem, I volunteered to go back to her house to pick it up. I like a mission, me against diabetes. After a morning of bridal stuff, my adrenal glands were more than happy to kick some dust off. The bride says the back door is unlocked. So I dashed to her house, drifting the corners in my mind, finding the apex in the road. The back door is not unlocked. No doors are opened, but I am not taking the L on this. All of us bridesmaids had gotten ready at her house earlier, and one of the other bridesmaids was leaning on her window on the second floor smoking. I gaze up at her window, praying that it's still unlocked. I know this house. I went to high school with the bride, snuck out of that window onto the roof, and clambered down the tree beside the house many times. Only this time, I am in a strapless, tight, mermaid-style dress. Driving a stick in this constricting skirt was a challenge enough. There is no way on God's green earth that I can climb a tree. It's barely above freezing, but this is a DEFCON 2 situation. I'm in the backyard, and there is only one house that can see me. I accept the crazy low odds that the grandparents that live next door will notice me. Decidedly incorrect assumption because apparently Gramps has assigned himself the position of Overwatch. I kick off my heels, sling off my jacket, it's barely above freezing, and toss the Morticia Adams-style bridesmaid dress over the fence. I pat my old friend, the tree, and begin to climb. I'm sure I sloth climbed it, but the adrenaline pulsing through my veins has me convinced that I ninja warriored that crap. The window is unlocked. Hoorah! Once I open it, I ungracefully fall into the room from the roof. I don't care because the distinctly male movie announcer voice in my head is sexily broadcasting the trailer for the movie I'm acting out. The crowd cheers when my icicle toes hit the hardwood floors. I'm killing it. The room looks like a giant girl bomb exploded. Curlers, hair dryers, makeup bags, and clothes cover every square inch of the carpet. I super kung fu hop over the piles to the dresser where she said her insulin bag would be. It's not there. I rifle through the piles, shaking like a scared dog from the cold. Nope. To the bathroom. Nope. A massive rock drops in my stomach when I can't find her insulin. The clock is ticking. I launch down the stairs, 2 at a time, and run through the house as my eyes scan every surface. I find it on the kitchen counter, a full floor away from where she thought she left it. Booyah! Booyah! I don't know. I'm back in the game. I shotgun pump my arm and grab the bag. I make sure I lock the kitchen door from the inside. I mentally check. Yep, I left all of my stuff outside. I step into the garage, shutting the door behind me. As I'm jiggling the locked doorknob, I hear the whoop whoop of a police car. I slowly turn and do some weird half raise of my hands. There are two cops in the driveway, all official and stern looking. In a split second, I flash on images. I'm in the back of the police car. Handcuffed, search warrants are getting issued. I see the courtroom, a stern judge, and an unforgiving jury. In a moment of catastrophic cognitive dissonance, I swear I heard my brain misfire. The only thing that zaps me back to reality is that, I kid you not, my boobs are 2 frozen ice cones. I'm gonna have the pleasure of explaining this crap show to the officers while wearing nothing but my fancy thong and lacy, strapless bra because Genius Me didn't want panty lines. And my hot-ass guy will be wearing a tux to the wedding. Enough said. I could have vaporized on the spot from the humiliation as the officers approach me. I don't even know what I said. I virtually shoved the bag of insulin at the older cop and vomited out the preposterous details of this Texas-sized oof that landed me in my skivvies, coming out of a house that I technically broke into. They try to keep a straight face, but then I start to laugh. It begins as a small, embarrassed chuckle, but then it takes on a life of its own, commandeering all of my self-control and flinging it into the icy wind with the ashes of my dignity. I howl. Tears run down my face and I shoot strangled, inhuman sounds at them. I can make no sound other than the drawn-out vowels. God, it's embarrassing. The cops are trying to ask me questions, and instead, they get Muttley the dog. All I can do is wheeze or tear and shake from the cold. Finally, I beg them to let me put my clothes on. One gallantly swings his arm to me to tell me to proceed to the backyard to recover my assortment of clothing, cringingly clinging to the fence. They are gentlemen about it as I jump and shimmy into this hell contraption of a bridesmaid's dress. They ask me if there's anyone that I can call from the family to confirm the story. I call the bride. She doesn't pick up. I call the bride's mom. She doesn't pick up. I call the love of my life. He picks up on the first ring. God, I love that man. He doesn't know why I left the church, but immediately goes into solve this crap fast mode. He gets the bride's dad. It gets sorted. My guy is waiting in the parking lot when I pull up. Panic rolls across his face when he sees me, thinking I've been crying. I laugh the rest of my makeup off with him when I tell him the story. We're getting married soon, and I think the bride should have to perform a commensurate task to climbing a tree in freezing weather in her underwear. I'm definitely taking suggestions. This all happened in a decently small town. This story has ripped through the gossip mill like Taco Bell through the colon. My oldest brother is apparently friends with a young cop that I could never make myself look in the eye. Yep, never living this down, and I'm never more grateful to have moved away. Also, LPT, I'm an idiot, so maybe you all know this, but don't hand your phone to the police. Put the call on speaker or show them the text from your hand. Do not physically place your property in the care of the police. Advice from a law student who was more than happy to lecture me for 20 minutes at the reception. Also, they include a little funny edit. Thanks everyone, it's been a fantastic ride. Quick link to the r/ask legal excerpt review of whether you should or should not hand your phone to the police. They provide the link, but we don't care about that. And no, I will not send pics. Okay, well, anyways, that right there is a friend that you don't ever want not to be your friend, okay? First of all, the writing in this story was fantastic, okay? Very good job. And that is a good friend. Though someone that would go through those lengths to make sure that you don't die, that's something you gotta keep in your life. That is a ride or die, basically. Weddings are a chaotic time in people's lives, and I'm sure you guys all have some crazy wedding stories if you've been married. So share down below, I'm curious. I know people love sharing crazy wedding stories, or anything similar. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.